Mikey Garcia and Victor Conte respond to the critics and the naysayers who thinks that Mikey Garcia should not be working with Victor Conte because of their history. They respond by posting this pic. Stay tuned, coming up next.
Hey, this is Cassie, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout outs to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, habla Cindy, está viendo Deportes TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Mikey Garcia and Victor Conte respond to the critics whom say that Mikey Garcia should not be working with Victor Conte because of the history of Victor Conte. And we know allegedly a lot of fighters have popped dirty for PEDs in the recent months, and they've been working with the SNACC program. Mikey Garcia is preparing himself for the biggest fight of his career as he's daring to be great to take on IBF undefeated American welterweight champion Errol the True Spence. And Mikey Garcia is daring to be great. Mikey Garcia has been calling out Errol Spence for quite some time, and he feels like he sees something in Errol Spence that he could exploit, and he wanted the challenge of facing Errol Spence. He says that no other fighter would get him ready to get him up, for the challenge like Errol Spence. So he said that he wanted to challenge himself. We know Mikey Garcia is an undefeated fighter. He's a Mexican legend as of today. He's a four-time world champion, four-division world champion. So Mikey Garcia has already carved out a big portion of his legacy, and his future still looks bright. Errol Spence is just scratching the surface of his legacy. He hasn't yet cemented his legacy. I mean, Mikey Garcia has he had big fights. He had signature fights in his career already. He beat Adrian Broner. He beat Robert Easter. He's faced different tasks in his career. He's beat Orlando Salido in the lower weight classes. He has signature fights. This is just another feather in the notch in Mikey Garcia's career. Should he be successful in beating Errol Spence? Everybody's going to remember that he dared to be great, a la Kell Brook did with Triple G. Kell Brook moved up from 147 pounds to 160 pounds and dared to be great against Gennady Triple G Golovkin. It didn't bode well for Kell Brook as his eye socket was broken. There's weight classes in the sport of boxing for a reason. And with this said, I saw a lot of people, as of late, as the fight gets closer and closer, I'm seeing a lot of different people picking Mikey Garcia. I didn't see any of the fans picking Mikey Garcia. I didn't see any other channels, YouTube channels or journalists picking Mikey Garcia. But as the fight gets closer and gets near, seeing a lot of people feeling like Mikey Garcia has a better shot than they originally thought against Errol Spence. I don't know what changed, but hey, listen, everybody's subject to their own opinion. Everybody can have their own opinion. My stance is, I think that I understand what Mikey Garcia sees in Errol Spence that he could exploit. I've studied the fight, two fights that Mikey Garcia mentioned that he saw flaws in Errol Spence that gave him the confidence to feel like he could beat Errol Spence. One mainly was Lamont Peterson fight. I watched that fight about 12 times now and studied it. In addition to me already watching the fight, I've studied the fight, as of late, about 12 times, and I watched it rewatch, slow motion, rewatch rounds, things of that nature, and I see a few minor flaws in Errol Spence. I see that he crabs up when you let your hands go. He doesn't always exchange with you in when you let your hands go. He does get hit with an overhand right, and he is subjected to the left hook at times. But I just don't see Mikey Garcia having the physical tools. Is Mikey Garcia a great fighter? Absolutely. Does Mikey Garcia have a lot of skills? Absolutely. Is Mikey Garcia very disciplined in his approach? Absolutely. Is Mikey Garcia disciplined outside of the ring? Yes, he is. Does Mikey Garcia live the fighter's lifestyle? Absolutely. Mikey Garcia is committed to his craft. I just think that there's weight classes for a reason, and sizes, play a part. A great big man always beats a great little man. And I'm starting to see a lot of people saying, well, Errol Spence is not a great fighter. Okay, well, that's your opinion. As I stated before, everybody has their own opinion. Everybody's welcome to have their own opinion. I mean, Errol Spence hasn't been getting the big names in the ring. We only seen Errol Spence in the ring with Kell Brook. You know, that's an opponent that everybody keeps bringing up is Kell Brook. But we did see him in the ring with a rough, rugged fighter and a former champion in Lamont Peterson. We saw him in with a different style and a slick, moving boxer, quick moving reaction boxer in Chris Algieri. Now I know people are going to say, well, Chris Algieri, who is Chris Algieri for? Well, Chris Algieri was in a fight of the year type of fight when he fought Ruslan Provodnikov, and nobody was stating that everybody thought that Ruslan Provodnikov at that point in time was somebody. Nobody confused him with a Hall of Famer, but he was definitely a contender. He was somebody to reckon with in the sport of boxing at that time, right? And so let's not act like Ruslan Provodnikov was just a walk in the park. Ruslan Provodnikov was a tough, rugged, rough fighter. You know, he gave Timothy Bradley, whom Timothy Bradley only lost twice in his career, and that was to Manny Pacquiao. He gave Timothy Bradley he almost knocked Timothy Bradley out. Timothy Bradley had to take a knee in that fight. He was taking so much punishment. Not to mention Chris Algieri fighting Manny Pacquiao. He was knocked down about, I think, 8 times or something crazy like that. But, you know, he still was able to muster and get a fight with Manny Pacquiao. And, Manny Pacquiao, who's a legend in the sport, eventually overwhelmed Chris Algieri. Nobody's disputing that. He sure did. But to act like Chris Algieri, you know, is just a walk in the park, or Ruslan Provodnikov is a walk in the park, is ridiculous. So, you know, Errol Spence did fight different styles of fighters. Were they all A-class level fighters? No. But he fought different styles of fighters, and you know, there's size difference. He couldn't get the Sean Porter. He didn't get the Danny Garcia. He didn't get the Keith Thurman. He's been seeking out those fights, but he just didn't get them. And I know a lot of people gonna bring in the fact that, oh, well, he didn't fight Terrence Crawford. He could have fought Terrence Crawford. He ducked Terrence Crawford, so on and so forth. Well, that's a whole different subject. We're talking about Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr., point blank and period. And there's size and there's weight classes for a reason. Errol Spence is a very strong, big, young, powerful, disciplined welterweight. That's what he is. Mikey Garcia, as I'm going to state once more, is coming up 1 weight class. He's not coming up 2 weight classes. 3 of his last 5 fights was at 140 pounds. I can't say it enough. 3 of his last 5 fights was at 140 pounds. Okay? There's 135 pounds, there's 140, and then there's 147. He's going to fight Errol Spence at 147. He's had 2 title fights at 140. Okay? And he had 3 fights overall at 140. So his last 5 fights, he had 3 out of his last 5 fights was at 140. So the majority of his last 5 fights was at the 140 pound division. So he's moving up essentially 1 weight class. Okay, he even held titles in the 140 pound division. He fought Adrian Broner at 140 pounds. Okay, nobody complained then. So he's moving up 1 weight class. Okay, he campaigned at he played he was a yo-yo. You know, every once in a while he'll drop down. He fought a meaningful fight at 135 pounds, a la Robert Easter. Okay, but for the most part, the last 5 of his fights have been at 140 pounds, point blank and period, no matter how you slice it. Now, Errol Spence is a very tricky fighter. Not to mention, Errol Spence is a southpaw, you know, which makes him even more dangerous. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? He's a powerful southpaw who's destructive. He comes forward. He's very disciplined in his approach. He's very, you know, a lot of people could say he doesn't do, you know, he doesn't. He's pretty basic, as Floyd Mayweather likes to put. He's straight up and down, right? You know, and that's all good, you know. But guess what? He's a solid, strong, big welterweight. That's just what it is. Okay, he just is. Mikey Garcia fought Elio Rojas at 140 pounds, right? He fought Adrian Broner at 140 pounds. He fought Sergey Lipinis at 140 pounds. After his Elio Rojas at 140 pounds, he dropped down to fight Dejan Zlatishian at 135. Then he went back up to 140 pounds to fight Adrian Broner. Then he stayed at 140 pounds and fought Sergey Lipinis. And he dropped in his last fight to 135 to fight Robert Easter. Now he's going to 147 to fight Errol Spence Jr. So, like I stated before, 3 of his last fights and 2 back-to-back. His Adrian Broner and Sergey Lipinets fights were at 140 pounds. Okay, so you say his before his last fight with Robert Easter, right? He fought, his first fight was at Elio Rojas at 140 pounds. He only fought if you subtract Robert Easter from the equation, his 4 fights, he only fought 1 at 135. And that was Dejan Zlatikian for the title, right? And that's because he got a title shot. Other than that, he fought Elias Rojas. He dropped down to fight Zlatikian. Then he went back up to 40. He fought Adrian Broner and Sergey Lipinets at 140. Then he dropped down for another title fight with Robert Easter. So he was actually a 140-pounder campaigning at 135 just for title shots. Point blank and period. So like I stated before, he's going up 1 weight class to 147, from 140 to 147. So there should be no more excuses. As I'm hearing and seeing people saying that Mikey Garcia is training hard, Mikey Garcia is the more skillful fighter, Mikey Garcia has the better ring IQ, Mikey Garcia is the more accurate fighter, so on and so forth. So there should be no excuses in this fight. Now Errol Spence, before I told you guys, I felt like Errol Spence was in a lose-lose situation. Right? This is what I told you guys. I no longer think that Errol Spence is in a lose-lose situation, right? Because since people are campaigning for Mikey Garcia and people feel like Mikey Garcia has the higher ring IQ and Errol Spence doesn't, Errol Spence is not a great big fighter. You know, there's a saying, a great big man beats a great little man 9 times out of 10, right? But people are starting to say that Errol Spence is not a great big man. Okay, but Mikey Garcia is a great little man. So if that's the case, there should be no more excuses for Mikey Garcia should Mikey Garcia lose, and everybody should give Errol Spence the just due and the credit that he deserves. If he beats Mikey Garcia, since you guys are saying that he's the he's the less IQ. He doesn't have the IQ of Mikey Garcia, right? He doesn't have the ring mobility as Mikey Garcia, right? He doesn't have the and people are starting to say that their power is equal. I'm seeing people coming out now saying that their power is equal. So if their power is equal and that ring IQ goes to Mikey Garcia and this is a 50-50 fight, okay, well there should be no more excuses for Mikey Garcia should Errol Spence demolish Mikey Garcia. If he demolished Mikey Garcia, I don't want to hear anybody coming out and saying that, oh, he should have did that. No, he shouldn't have done that. Actually, from the way people are speaking, Mikey Garcia is the superior fighter, right? So Errol Spence is the one, only advantage Errol Spence have in this fight is size, right? And we all know that people say that size don't play a part in the boxing. It's your IQ, it's the mental. It's the skill set, right? Skills pay the bills, as Floyd Mayweather would say. Okay, so if that's the case, then we need to give Errol Spence 100% of the credit should he dog walk and beat Mikey Garcia up. Point blank and period. There should be no more excuses. Just like Mikey Garcia is going to be praised to the heavens should he beat Errol Spence. If Errol Spence is to beat Mikey Garcia, then Errol Spence needs to get the credit and be praised to the heavens as well. That's just it. You know, and Mikey Garcia is training hard. He's changed his resume. He changed his approach. You know, he hired SNACC. He's working with Victor Conte. He's adding muscle on. You know, things of that nature. So he's only adding on to the repertoire that he has. Right? He's only adding to it. He's only getting better. As Errol Spence needs to work on a lot of things, right? So Mikey Garcia is only adding to the repertoire. So he should have all the advantages going in the ring aside from the size advantage. So let's just give Errol Spence his just dues for winning this fight should he be victorious. Point blank and period. But that's all I got for y'all. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
The Blue Blood Sport TV, baby, from the Emperor.